It's a no-brainer.
We've had honestly.
If I was going to put money into
People would probably love to hear this.
It doesn't get built by chance. Thank you everyone for joining. My name is Marc Levesque. We'll just do a quick little briefing before we get into the content. Give time for people to get kind of settled in here. As you all know, today's topic is all about scaling to 8 figures and beyond, and who better to get that type of advice from than people who are currently doing that today. So this isn't your typical webinar where Danny or myself are walking you through, slides for an hour, as much as those are good. Here we decided to bring on mutual customers of ours who are just kicking ass in the trades today. And the idea here is that we can answer a lot of the questions that many of you have, and just foster sharing ideas, knowledge transfer, that sort of thing. So we've got 3 contractors with us today. We're gonna give them the chance to introduce themselves briefly. Like I said, my name is Marc. I am with Webrunner. Real quick, purpose for today is to foster collaboration between contractors, industry professionals, and just enhance your sales and your marketing process. So the outcome for you, while any kind of burning desires, questions you have, challenges that you're facing every single day, whether it be from a sales perspective or marketing, the idea is that you can get those answered today. When you leave here, hopefully you're able to walk away with something that you can implement in your business and actually, see a better tomorrow. That is the goal. So agenda for today, real quick, a bit of housekeeping. We're going to go through some introductions so you know who we're speaking with. I want to thank the guests right away just for blessing us with their time. They've taken an hour out of their schedule to come and share what's worked for them. So thank you guys for that. Towards the end, we'll give you guys the opportunity to book one-on-one time for support with either Webrunner, BTA, that sort of thing. And stick around till the end. Very important. There are a ton of free resources that BTA has put together for us, namely business system checklist. I'm reading this here because there's a lot. Company dashboard tools, organizational structure chart, annual strategic plan templates, effective job posting examples, 13-page interview forms, 12-page employment agreement, and more. So if you want to get that, stick around till the end and we'll show you where you can go and get that. Finally, just a big shout out to some of the people that help make events like this possible. Behind the scenes, Aaron, Michael, Matt, Holly, Ben, Victor, thank you to you guys. And hopefully I'm not forgetting any. There's likely more people, but there you have it. So just a little bit about me. Like I said, my name is Marc Levesque. That was my family right there, my little Timbits. So I'm one of the co-founders here at Webrunner. Webrunner is a company that we started 8 or so years ago. Myself personally, I'm on the biz dev side of the business. I do a lot of advisory and consulting for 7- and 8-figure contractors in the home improvement space. Webrunner, for those of you who may have never heard of us, we're essentially a lead gen company. So a marketing company that helps people in the trades scale their businesses faster through tried, proven digital advertising services. I've been featured, and Webrunner's been featured in dozens of industry publications and podcasts and that sort of thing. So just so you know, as much as we're out there trying to dish out knowledge and help people, events like this really help us to kind of level up as well, because we learn from people in the field doing this stuff on a day-to-day. So I'm just as thrilled to be here as you guys are. Just to kick things off, I want to welcome Rita, Laswell, CEO at A-Best Roofing. Rita, thank you for being here. I'll give you just a couple of seconds to tell us who you are, what you do.
All right, I'm Rita Laswell, A-Best Roofing. We've been in business for 32 years. Our focus is residential and commercial roofing, as well as we have our own metal fabrication shop. So I started 12 years ago as a sales assistant. And, it's kind of like, what's the big deal? All roofs are equal, right? But quickly learned after about 2 months, we had a hailstorm and gave me a totally new meaning of hail. So we had about 4,000 calls within 2 months. And of course, we didn't have the awesome systems that Breakthrough Academy gives us now. So it was just crazy. It was like nuts. One of my business philosophies is if we care about our people, we'll care about our customers. So that's my main focus, is just building the culture and caring for our employees, which is a full-time job these days. My marketing approach this year has taken a little bit different turn. Just this year with all the crazy, I really wanted to let people know who we are. And we just have had a lot of fun with that. Some of our favorite posts have nothing to do with roofing. So it's been crazy memes and Sasquatch interviewing for a job, writing with Jim, just fun things. We felt it important to give people something to laugh about occasionally this year. My mission in life is to help people win.
John had a question for you. He said, is that 20-to-1 ratio based on revenue to marketing spend?
That's based on marketing. Yeah.
So the marketing dollars put into the revenue achieved.
Yeah, that's what Webrunner has done for us. It's kind of addictive. It's kind of like I love opening my dashboard every day and watching that investment grow. So
pretty game changing. It's a good investment. Cool. All right, let's keep rolling here.
Next is, I think there we go. Daniel Young, CEO, founder of Kingdom Roofing Systems. Dan, hand it over to you, buddy.
Hey, thanks guys for joining us. We are residential and commercial roofers at heart. If we could roof all day, every day, that's what we would do. And through our relationships with Webrunner and Breakthrough Academy, we've been able to transition out of trades and services that are not our core competency and have a heavy focus on roofing, primarily with a backup of siding and gutters. So we're about half commercial, half residential. Very similar story to Rita. Once we started a relationship with Webrunner and Breakthrough Academy, it's just really take off. We have grown 50 to 100% year over year for the last 3 years with both of them, and experienced incredible growth and increase of overall net profit. Plus, we are getting our lives back and now dictating our time and money where they go versus us being reactive to constant fires. So again, like Rita, we are very mission and vision focused about serving our employees and serving our community. And we just find that when you invest in people, they oftentimes will help you meet your dreams also. And that's where we spend our energy and our time.
Awesome. Thanks, Daniel.
And Joshua Martin, thank you for being here. Josh, you're the co-owner of Great Roofing Restoration. Hand it over to you, sir.
All right. So I've been with Great Roofing now for about 8 years. Prior to Great Roofing, I was in the corporate world as a operations and business analyst for Abercrombie & Fitch. So this was a kind of a crazy experience for me to dive into. And I've learned a ton about people, a ton about the industry. I can tell you a shorter story instead of going all the way back to the beginning. It's probably about 2017. I was questioning whether I really still wanted to do this. I'd been frustrated. We were banging doors, and that's really kind of all we knew. And we got with Breakthrough Academy. Our coach Braden sort of picked us off the mat and got us steered in the right direction. And I can tell you that right now, between Webrunner and Breakthrough Academy, almost every resource that we utilize outside has been recommended by one of those two companies. So we've really done some amazing things. I love what I'm doing now. And I have time to do stuff that I didn't have time to do. I'm an avid golfer now. Before I didn't have time to play golf. So our motto right now is culture over contracts. And the reason that we say that is because our processes are really good. And we feel like if the culture is really good, we're going to sign the contracts. Previous, it was bang more doors, sign more deals. And those people were put on a pedestal and we had terrible culture. So for us, culture over contracts really works. And the partnerships that we've made with these guys really have been life-changing for me personally. So, yep.
Awesome, Josh. Sweet man. All right. Quickly about me. Some of you guys know who I am. Some of you don't. I'm one of the founders of Breakthrough Academy. So my name is Danny Kerr, and I spend my days up in Canada. So I will say foreign words to you. So for those who are not from Canada, like a boot and, toque and booty. But if you can deal with that, then we should be good. Other than that, right now, we have something called Breakthrough Academy, which essentially works with about over 300 different contracting businesses across the US and Canada and helps integrate processes like financial management, org structure, recruiting processes, training programs. Essentially, we're almost like a back-end franchise without you having to buy the franchise. And a lot of that comes from me and my business partner's background, where we actually used to operate franchises. And I used to have at one point in that franchising world, about 150 people that reported to me in an organization called college pro painters. So we kind of took a model where we said, how do we take a franchise model and not sell a franchise, but sell the model itself and help owners in their own businesses kind of thrive with that model. So Josh, Daniel, and Rita are all part of that, along with many others, and are really good shining examples of what can be done long term with that kind of system in your hands. But we will get into that as we go. So to give you all a bit of context as we get into today, just here's a few ground rules I always think will help. First thing, we're going to go through a lot. There's more information than there is probably time in the day for you to implement all this stuff. So make sure you only take down a couple things. I always see people writing pages and pages of notes and kind of raising an eyebrow, wondering how much of this will actually get done. If we're going to spend an hour together, if you do write lots of notes, that's cool, but just circle even just one or two things that you're committed to actually executing out of this webinar would be my biggest ask. Share from your experience as well. So we're going to go through lots of questions. You can still ask questions live in the chat box. You can comment as well. The more lively that thing is, the more entertaining it is for all of us. So feel free to be pretty live in that chat window, and just makes this thing a lot more engaging. And then ultimately use the template. We're going to give you lots of downloads and resources at the end of this, and feel free to use them into your own business, and you can actually implement some of this stuff immediately, which would be pretty cool. All right. Quick note as we get started. What is this thing all about? Well, some of you may have seen this slide. I put this up a lot in a lot of our talks, but there is definitely a trend that I've seen over the years of working with all these contracting businesses and my own business itself myself, where a lot of us are moving from this like grassroots level business to more enterprise level business. And what does that mean? I mean, that's you going from being a hustler of all things, getting quick results, problem solving everything on the fly, running the business from your hip, basically, to having more of a controlled effort where things are stable and predictable, and you have standard processes in place and controls in place to make sure everything is moving forward in more of a cohesive manner. And the process to get there is not simple. And for all of you, I'm sure you've experienced it. I know Josh, Daniel, and Rita have experienced it and for over a ton of years, but there's a growth zone to be able to get you there. And my hope is to help bridge that gap a little bit today by sharing a lot of the experience of their just day-to-day operations of how they do things today, where they've come from, and help get you one or two things that you can do to kind of bridge that growth zone gap as you guys all thrive towards more of an enterprise level business. So that is a bit of context of what I hope you get out of today. Other than that, let's get into the questions. So general themes that came in. So as you guys know, as you guys all registered, there was a chance to put in a question. We had a whole bunch come through. I will say the last 2 days, we didn't include those questions because we had to prepare. So basically for the last week and a bit, we've prepared on all the questions you guys submitted, except for if you just registered last day or two, we probably missed those questions. What they all revolved around was lead generation, qualifying of your leads, closing sales, and then how to drive and motivate your people. So those are kind of the themes of everything. And you'll see as we go through the questions, we've tried to summarize a lot of what you said into kind of one master question, but I did below kind of include a lot of your specific questions you guys had below as well. So as we go through it, I'll do my best, and we'll do our best as a group to answer everything we can. And like I said, if you're in the chat window and you don't see your question come up, or you wanted to know something that spins off of what we're talking about, feel free to type it in there, and we'll be actively trying to answer those as well. So the first question is around marketing and sales fundamentals. So what does it take? What are some of the key fundamentals that it takes to help companies that are kind of wanting to scale up, but they're maybe not huge quite yet? What are some of the marketing and sales fundamentals that really matter the most? And I know, Daniel, when we read through this, you kind of had some thoughts on this that I'll let you kind of take it and start to kick us off.
Yeah, sure. So like many companies, we started with very little capital on the front side. And so we understand what it takes to organically scale a business. And so what I would encourage everybody to do is there's always low-hanging fruit. And then there's a natural progression as you drive revenue and drive profit, you're able to reinvest in your company. That low-hanging fruit on the front side, though, is, give awesome customer service, get referrals. Door knocking, it's a sweat equity investment. It doesn't take a huge marketing investment to go after hail areas or wind areas. And there is also things like online directories that are free that you could, if you have the sweat equity and the time, you could get online and start inputting your name into things like Angie's List. Google My Business, it's free. It doesn't cost anything to sign up for these things. So I would encourage everybody to look at the ways that don't cost any money, but it's more sweat equity, and then start driving revenue from there. When we look at, we run about 40 lead sources. And when we look at all of our top lead sources, the majority of them are referral-based, self-generated, repeat customers, and truck wraps. That's 4 of our top 6 are not a paid lead source. The truck wrap is a one-time investment, but that's branding. That's one thing I'd also say is right out the gate. If I was going to put money into any type of marketing effort, I would start by wrapping vehicles, have hats, swag, gear, business cards, just the most simple things. As you drive revenue and you have net profit to reinvest in the company, the first thing that I would do is get with an expert. Get with somebody like Marc at Webrunner. And guys, I'm telling you, in 10 years, I have spent millions of dollars with different management companies that are supposed to be experts and oversee our overall marketing strategy. When we hired Webrunner, we instantly saw a massive ROI. Things became tracked. They became measurable. They become KPIs that we knew what success looked like and failure didn't look like. It wasn't mysterious what they were doing. Many people we've dealt with in the past has been, it's a $2,000 management fee and we'll take care of X, Y, and Z. But there was never reporting. There was never accountability. We meet weekly. We review our goals. We do, basically a goal set and review on the marketing side. So we're setting a goal for this week. In the next week following, we're reviewing previous week's goals. We're going through challenges and how to overcome those. When you do that, you might spend a little bit of money for a management fee, but you're going to save money overall and have much better results by dealing with somebody that only does marketing, branding, and lead generation. So guys, grab your low-hanging fruit, do the things that don't cost much, wrap your vehicle. After that, get with somebody like Marc and Webrunner, and then they will walk you through a strategy that is typically front-loaded where they're going to ask you to invest in time. And then they can use those resources to execute a marketing strategy. When we met with them, we laid out an 18-month plan of everything that would happen for the next 18 months. We executed against it. We did our time, our energy, our effort to give them what they needed. And now, since I've met them, we're 3X, and that's been in 2.5 years.
It's awesome. It's awesome. Thanks, Daniel. Anybody else want to add some thoughts or comments?
As for referrals, they're free.
Yeah. I'll give some context to both of what they're talking about. Job site marketing. What I always used to do was we go if you can, certain cities you can't, but I would go 2 signs up on the house itself and 2 other signs up in the neighborhood where the major arteries are leading for people coming to and from work. Parked vehicle, totally wrapped on the front. Everyone's logoed shirts and looks professional. Even if they're subs, we ask them to wear those shirts going into our job sites, and basically have flyers, usually 50 to 100 door hangers that go out to the area when a job starts. So that creates a presence. If you want to take it a step further, you can go and capture those leads by going door to door. But what at least we would do is give all of our people a clipboard with name, number, and email on it. And if people come up and ask about a job, we pay our people that are working on site $20 to $50 per lead that they capture. So they're incentivized not just to give a card away so someone walks away, but to actually capture that lead as well. And then for referrals, best time to ask for a referral is when you've wowed a customer. So think about this. You've just finished the job. The customer is super floored with what you've done. It's a very simple question. What's the biggest thing you got out of working with us? Whatever it is, X, Y, Z. Cool. Do you know anybody else that would get similar value from doing something like this? That's the best time. And that's the best way organically to ask for referrals. But perfect. Rita and Daniel, that's exactly the low-hanging fruit stuff that comes out of the beginning. So cool. Anything else you guys want to add?
One thing that we also do is just everybody's in some sort of a networking or leads group. So BNI has been really good for us. Our top attending BNI guys sold over $500,000 just through BNI referrals this year. It's something that's not super expensive. They tend to be about $800 a year, but you do have to show up. I think sometimes people think they throw a few $100 or a few $1,000s at something and you don't have to do the work. To get it out of those, you have to show up every Friday and you have to be willing to give business to get business. And I think that's a theme, period. A lot of times you walk into somebody's office and I'm going to sell them and they're going to send me leads. And it's like, well, what are you going to do for them? So there is a mentality and a mindset with networking that you do have to be willing to give to get. So I think that's important as well.
Totally. The more referrals you send to somebody, the more guilty they feel to want to send you something back.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. Cool. Marc, I don't know if you want to go some of the questions. I think we had a question or two come in.
Yeah, Kevin, which most of you know, asked about percentage of business which comes from referrals, and I know for a lot of you that percentage is pretty high because you're invested in building a system to help you guys capitalize on that. But if any of you want to speak to that.
Yeah, so I just pulled my data when I saw Kevin ask that. So referrals out of 40 is my number one lead source. It's 17% of overall revenue. And we have a pretty complex referral program that we've built out and is automated, where we reward customers for, give you an example, they can opt into a loyalty program. They get $100 a referral, whether we sell the job or not. So they get immediate gratification. If they give me a referral today, I run the appointment, they get a $100 gift card for the first 4 referrals. On the 5th one, it's $250. And on the 10th one, we do a cruise or condo voucher for a family up to 8 days. We buy those in bulk. They're inexpensive for us. And we watched our referrals instantly blow out of the water. But I have somebody who manages it, is extremely intentional. And everything to me on the referral side is about immediate gratification. Most referral programs are about, if you refer and they buy, then I give X, versus if you refer, I give you X today, right now. In my opinion, it's not the person who's giving the referral. It's not their job to sell the job. It's our job to sell the job. So like any other lead source, we're paying for an opportunity, and we're giving them immediate gratification that they know we're serious. And if they give our name, they're going to get paid, and they're getting paid now.
Awesome. Thanks, Daniel. Cool. Let's keep moving here. We'll get some questions as we get to the next slide. Next big question. So looking more at the larger scale of businesses, what are the top 3 lead gen tactics when you start to reach revenue marks around 5 million?
So we have, kind of over the past so many years, it feels like we're just throwing money up against the wall. We don't know what's working. We're into everything. The majority of our budget goes to TV and radio, and we do some billboards and, of course, the truck reps and everything. And we dabbled in Google this year, but 4 months ago, my coach at Breakthrough Academy said, Rita, you've got to call Marc. So I finally picked up the phone. Once we got up and going with Webrunner, which was an easy process. I didn't have to know what they were talking about. I just said, okay, do this. We started seeing that return. And like I said earlier, it's just fun. If I was a gambler, I think I'd be in trouble. But, it's like, if I can get the budget dollar that we've set for this year out of my mind and look at this as an investment, it's a no-brainer. So it's working. It's awesome.
Any specifics you want to go through, just like things that you're doing with Marc and with Webrunner that's really working?
Right now we're doing Google ads and Facebook ads, doing a little bit in Bing, which, I understand is good for the 65 plus customer. So we just started with that and have already seen a couple of leads come through that. I'm just ready to just keep adding and adding. It's awesome. I think we'll be shifting a lot of our budget dollars to this form of lead generation.
If I can kind of interject here, guys, really quickly, one thing that I'd like to highlight, particularly in Rita's case, is the fact that the business has been around for a long time, and A-Best has been making a serious investment in terms of very high quality, production, videos, branding. Traditionally, Rita, a lot of TV and radio and that sort of stuff. And so from a digital standpoint, a lot of those assets have never really been leveraged, but there's a strong sort of affinity, with the brand, with the name. And so we noticed just leveraging the name through search, through pay-per-click, Rita's able to capitalize on some really, really low lead costs, hence the high ROI on ad spend, because she has made an investment in building that brand equity over time, and now it pays dividends just leveraging digital. So, Daniel spoke about some of the things that you can do really early on that aren't super costly, but you never want to take your eye off the long term. You got to build that brand equity. And then over time, as you put money into digital, everything that you've done on the front end is just going to help you, and you're going to reap the benefits from that long term. And I think, Rita, you're seeing that. The byproduct of everything you've done on the traditional is supporting your digital, which is really neat.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's a really good point, Mark. A lot of people, like, it's in the beginning, especially just like we talked about, it's all about the hustle, but to slowly be investing in that brand pays out years later. And you might not see the ROI tomorrow, but knowing that the future, that is usually the case. We've seen it ourselves in our business. I know pretty much everyone on the line here, our brand is what drives us as we get larger. So,
yeah, and you know, just to your point there, Danny, quickly, a lot of the reason why people tend to approach marketing and leads with, hey, what's my ROI on this? And it's normal when you're a little bit smaller. You don't have the luxury of being able to take on an enormous amount of risk. And so you want that guarantee. What's that lead going to cost me? What's it going to take me to land a customer? But if you can commit, you're confident in your business, your systems, your processes, your people, it becomes easier to make an investment into the brand because, you know, you'll be around long term and you've got to build a system and a machine and not just purchase the cheapest lead you can get your hands on, because that long term is not going to do much for your business.
Totally. We got 2 more minutes. Daniel, Josh, anything you guys want to add?
Yeah, one thing I was going to say to add is make sure that you're gathering reviews. So, like, for instance, if you're really Googling anything online and you pull somebody up, the first thing you do is check out the reviews, whether it's a restaurant or whatever. And as a company, if you don't, I mean, we started really focusing on 5-star Google reviews as a lead generation tactic, right? Because if you're spending money and driving people to your site, if you have either no reviews or 3 reviews, you don't look legitimate. So that's something that I would highly recommend everybody focus on. We actually give a bonus to our salespeople for every 5-star review that we get. I did see a question on here too about how much you're spending versus what you're getting back. I'll tell you on our dashboard, and it's hard to fully quantify because the first lead that you get that they send you, it can't really capture the 5 or 6 other that you get from that. So we've spent about $180,000 and they've generated directly that we can quantify over about 2.6 million in sales. And what I would tell you is that we really focus on is that one lead. If we sign it, needs to be 5, 6, 7 more. So if you go down a street where we got a lead from Webrunner, you're going to see a whole lot of signs. And that's because that's something we really focus on. I know people, when we first got into it, our only tactic really was to just knock doors. And it was hard to get into the neighborhood because nobody trusted you. Once you did, it was fine. But with this, it's them reaching out to you. So if you go in and you're professional and you do what you're supposed to do, doing what you tell you're going to do, getting the referrals from those people is actually pretty organic and easy. So just make sure that no matter who you use or what you're doing, that you remember that the idea isn't run the one lead and leave. It's capture that person and get 6, 7, 8 more. That's how we've had a ton of success, especially this year, is making sure that each one of those leads turns into 7, 8 more deals.
That's awesome. One quick note you just brought up there, and I think people will probably love to hear this. Do you guys know roughly what percentage of your revenue is spent on marketing?
We've traditionally stayed around 5%. And then for us in the last 18 months to grow. So we were spending about 5% up to 5 million. And then to go from 5 million to 10 million now, we're more like 7%. And that goes back to the low hanging fruit. Your first 3, 4, 5 million, a lot of that should be low hanging fruit, organic, should be high closing rate. As you push to scale, that's when you get more into your paid advertising and your marketing and your branding. That percent does go up a little bit. I know retail companies that'll spend as much as 20, 25%. Most companies between 10 and 20 million are spending more like 8 to 10 from my experience. If you guys can keep it around 6, 7, 8, you won't have to inflate your pricing to get there. What we find is it's a blended average, right? So our paid lead sources like Google pay-per-click, those are going to be more around 10 to 12, maybe 15% on the high side. Then you have half of your business that's maybe 0.5% or 1% because it's referral based, it's self-generated, it's truck wraps. There's some costs there, but it's very, very inexpensive. So I would say as you scale, that percentage will creep. My goal would be to never surpass 10%.
Cool.
And Marc really should speak to that more than me, but I think through our conversations, that's where most people are.
Yeah, I mean, that's a golden question. Everyone wants to know what's that cost over revenue look like. And I'll tell you, I mean, we see everything across the spectrum, and it varies by state, varies by company, varies based on the stage you're at in your company. So a bit of a difficult question to give just an exact number to. Merlin did ask, and I'll just throw this one out there really quickly. Do folks factor in employee costs to run marketing campaigns as part of your marketing budget?
Are you asking like an in-house marketing manager? Or are you asking like are we figuring in our salesman running the lead? Which I'm sorry, can you help clarify that?
I would imagine it would be the person getting the lead. So if you have someone in-house helping with any of it.
Yeah, in-house marketing, perfect. So, and I can speak to that too, because we added an in-house marketing manager. I would tell you guys, I do charge their salary to our marketing budget. It is a percentage. I also incentivize them. I gave them KPIs. I gave them 3 to 4 different ways to bonus based off of what our goals were. So we gave him bonus for how many customer testimonials on video that he could produce. We gave him for the referral and loyalty program, what percentage we were looking for if he could surpass a percentage, because he manages that campaign. I can tell you that bringing an in-house marketing manager, my experience, greatly reduces your overall marketing budget, because my guy, I'm paying a $40,000 base plus bonus. And, that's, call it $20 an hour. If you hire an outside firm to do video, photography, all those things, you're going to pay $100 an hour plus. And I have a guy on staff that can respond to marketing issues instantly versus outsourcing. I'm shooting an email, a text, a call, waiting for a response. They are servicing multiple customers. So the blended model of having one in-house, maybe 2, 3 in-house people, plus experts like Marc at Webrunner and Kevin, the models together have been beautiful for us. We have our marketing meeting, we review everything, and then Marc and Kevin are given recommendations for the next step. And then my marketing manager is executing from now to the next meeting. And we do charge his salary and bonus to the marketing budget. So that's included in our 7%.
Let's see this next slide, about 5 minutes, just to keep up with time, guys. So the next big question is, how do you qualify your leads?
So I'll tell you, we used to be pretty terrible at this. We spent tons of money on different avenues in terms of bringing leads in, and then we didn't do a real good job of even making sure they were set up. So just over the past year and a half, have we really started to get good at this. So for us, kind of going through the roadmap with Webrunner at the beginning, they told us what was going to happen in terms of the lead volume and the things we would need to manage and understand. And in the beginning, because we had failed with several other companies, we didn't really believe them, right? So we said, all right, yeah, we'll give you some money, we'll see what happens. And so we started getting a pretty enormous volume of leads. I mean, we were getting, at the height of it, I think we were getting about 300 a month. And so before that, we realized that we weren't qualifying them very well. So we came up with sheets for different types of leads. So for insurance lead, you ask them certain questions. For a retail lead, you ask them certain questions. If it's a multi-commercial, you ask them different questions. For us, it was very important because we want to make sure that when someone is going out to the property, that they're educated and they understand what they're getting into, A. B, not every one of our salespeople has the same skill set. So if somebody called in with a $2 million potential apartment complex, I'm not giving it to the person who's been here for 2 months. I'm giving it to somebody who's been here for 8 years. And honestly, I don't think we were doing a great job even understanding that. So you'd get a sales guy and they'd go out and be like, oh, I was just at this apartment complex. And I'm like, oh, I just sent this guy who's been here for 3 months to an apartment complex. That was brilliant. And we did that. And that's true and that's real. And so we really made sure that we're asking really good and intelligent questions. And, when it's insurance, it's making sure that, who the carrier is, have they filed a claim? Have they been through the process? There's questions that you want to ask to make sure when you go out there, if they've never been through the process, you really want to make sure they understand the process. And we actually have a video that we send them prior to going there that talks to the insurance process. There's also certain carriers, as all of us know, that do insurance work that are amazing to work with. And there's some that ideally you don't even really want to touch. So it's really important for us to make sure that those leads are being qualified. And what we transitioned to was having somebody who managed that. So the previous way was they would come in and they would get sorted to a sales manager. And I think we kind of crossed our fingers and hoped they got put into the CRM system and they got ran. Now we have somebody who fully brings all those in. So the lead comes in, they qualify the lead, they enter all the relevant information, and then they look in our CRM to look at schedules. and then they assign those to an actual salesperson versus previously it was sort of a hopefully it's entered and hopefully they ran it. And when we started going back through the numbers, the amount of money that we spent to not run leads was pretty atrocious, if I'm being completely honest. But again, you learn and you grow. Awesome. And the biggest problem to have is having too many leads, right? And I think that's something that when you're going through with Webrunner, that's something that you talk about. It's something that I never actually thought that would be a problem for our business. We had been burned by a lot of companies that what I felt like didn't really care that much about my money. So like with Marc and Kevin and the Webrunner team, there's a lot of times when and this goes back to the last question a little bit, but there's times where they're bringing to my attention that certain things aren't working and that we should either scale it back or cut it before I even see it. And with companies that I used before, there is a 0% chance they were doing that. They didn't necessarily care about where my money was going as long as they were making theirs. And with Webrunner, they're a partner. So when you get these leads, they're valuable. And that's why the qualification process became super important. And I think we're doing a much, much better job of it. In the beginning, I don't know that everybody can afford to just hire somebody, but I do highly recommend to make sure that you at least have a process for it and you have somebody specific in charge, because I know that we've wasted just this year tens of thousands of dollars on leads that we could have ran, should have ran, and they disappeared. And I would recommend that you don't let that happen to yourself.
Cool. Awesome. Anyone else want to throw in a quick thought?
We take that one step further and we actually schedule an appointment. So it is a set time on the sales rep's calendar.
Cool.
Yeah. So same thing for us. We saw that once we entered into the CRM, asked the pre-qualifying questions on the phone, scheduled it right then and there. We had a lot less slippage and no demos. The other thing is I would encourage everybody to a study called Speed to Lead. It was a massive Harvard study that discusses how quickly we respond as contractors from answering the phone, online forums, Google questions, Facebook questions, et cetera, will dictate how many of those appointments get set, which obviously drives closing rate and revenue. And what they found was, on average, they studied over 100, I believe it was 100 contractors. The average response time was like 32 hours. It was like a ridiculous number, versus people who answer the phone and or respond to form fills, et cetera, I believe is within 5 minutes, had a 10x likelihood of closing the deal. So I would encourage everybody to dig into that report. It completely changed our business model around that to having full-time appointment setters. Also, another thing that we do, this is a little golden nugget. I hate to even give it away, but there's a software called Pulse M. So Webrunner helped us set it up. We were kind of their guinea pig. Basically, what it does is, for anybody that we're sending to a customer's house, an hour before we show up, there's a time-based automation that sends out a bio for that rep that's going, whether it's a salesman, a project manager, or production staff, et cetera. Shows a picture of who that rep is, their bio, their history, their specialty. Then there's also attached reviews from previous customers on that exact person. So say Johnny, your salesman, showing up 1 hour before, we introduce Johnny with this photo. The customer now knows what he looks like and knows what he specializes in and knows what previous customers have said about him. 24 hours after the appointment, they get a text message and asked, how did Johnny do? Then those reviews feed Google. So we went from 60, I believe, reviews in like April to over 200, because now we're actually surveying our customer for every touch point. And then at the end of the job, we're also surveying them for their overall experience. It also increased our closing ratio because they're reading the reviews. So it's a lot more like a referral versus only a warm inbound lead. So I would dig into that Pulse M, and again, Webrunner will help you guys execute that.
Lots of good stuff coming out of this. This is awesome. All right, let's get to our next slide, which is focused on sales process. So what process have you implemented? This is kind of what you're already starting to get into here, but what process have you guys implemented to increase your closing ratios or sales ratios?
Yeah, sorry. I guess I'm keyed on this one too. So I would say the number one thing is systems, right? So when we started the business, what we would do is, I mean, we did the right things. We had sales meetings, and we would teach our guys. It was almost like giving them golden nuggets, right? And we would teach them about individual things, versus now we use the Rodney Webb system, and it's milestone centric. And so in general, call it 10 milestones that have to be hit. It's everything from creating urgency to building value to price conditioning to asking for the sale, overcoming objections, offering financing, et cetera. But there's a system that's followed, and we're teaching those guys from A to Z. These are the steps, the milestones to hit. And then from there, what we do is after every demo no sale, Guild Quality comes in behind us within 24 hours. They do a rehash. So they call our customer. They ask them, how was your experience? What did you think about the PowerPoint presentation? What price did they offer you? How many different financing options did they give you? What we're doing, we're actually not attempting to capture that sale. Our first objective is to verify, did our rep follow our process, our sales system, or not? And then any time that a customer gives us feedback of, oh, I didn't get financing options, we can look at that and say, that was the breakdown in our process. That's why we didn't sell the job, because we know it's a bilimbic sale. We know that we're speaking to the psychology of the sale. We're talking to the opposite side of the brain, which is actually the decision-making side of the brain. It's emotional. And we know if we follow all those steps, our closing rate will be very, very high. And when we rehash and get the report back, we're able to primarily go back to our sales rep, coach them, consult them, develop them, point them back to our sales process in our Rodney Webb online university and say, go back, look at these videos again, watch the process, see what you did that caused to lose the sale. And then they can go and they can coach themselves. That also takes our sales manager out of the scene, where it's not him constantly answering every single question. We have an online university that'll answer those for him. So I would say overall, guys, there's a lot of really good names out there. So you have the Rodney Webb, you've got the Dave Yoho, you've got a lot of really good names out there, lots of very effective systems. A lot of them are very similar. Adopt a system and then make it the law, and have a culture of trusting the system, and you guys will see the results there.
That's awesome. What's your current closing ratio? There was a question there.
Yeah, so we track closing ratios two different ways. We have our overall closing ratio, and then we have closing ratio plus contingencies. So right now we're running. We just started the Rodney Webb system about 3 months ago. We're running a 30% closing rate. And that's overall sales. Our closing rate plus contingencies is 47%.
Awesome. Is that lead to sale or estimate to sale?
That is lead to sale.
That's really powerful. That makes a big difference. Cool. Sweet, guys. Anyone else want to throw in a few more thoughts before we move into the next slide? All right. Jenny, you left us all speechless. All right. Let's roll into the next one. So how do we keep our salespeople motivated?
Well, we pay them well. It's not unusual for a sales rep in their second year to make six figures. So we compensate them well. If they're struggling, we get them in the truck with another guy and they do a ride along. We have lots of contests. One that comes to mind was we teamed our residential and commercial teams together, which are two different animals, but put them together, and we saw the competitive spirit like we never saw it before. I mean, it was kind of like, who are you? I don't know who you are. They showed up in a crazy way, but loved it. We do a monthly bonus. Potential is $500 and $1,000. So that's every month potential. We have a boxing belt that they pass around with different challenges. And then we do a year-end trophy, a nice breakfast. We have a $1 million to $4 million club. So give them a trophy based on that and their sales, and have a plaque where we have their name. So just feeding to that competitive spirit of a sales guy.
Awesome. Beauty.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We do a lot of similar things. Yep.
Yeah, just jumping in here quickly, pat on the back for all of you, because I see it from kind of an outsider's perspective, but I know what you guys are all doing. And so, Rita, you're talking about the wrestling belt. Dan, I know you've got one of those as well. Josh, we were talking about the Thor's hammer. So from a leadership standpoint, Josh, you said culture over contracts. That doesn't get built by chance. You guys are great leaders. You're putting these systems in place. You're building that camaraderie and that competitiveness internally. It doesn't just happen, like I said, automatically or by chance. So that's something that has an impact on the sales for sure.
What does the actual infrastructure look like for you guys? The stuff we've been working on for years. So what does your actual business look like, from accountability to coaching to tracking? What are the salespeople going through right from when they come into a year working with you, and the support you bring in along the way? So,
Danny, are you asking about the overall onboarding process and accountability for salespeople, or the overall org structure?
Accountability and org structure for the sales side, though, for specific.
Yeah,
sales.
Sure. So what we do, we found this year that we had a bottleneck, and a lot of the bottleneck had to do with the training and developing of new reps. Our business model is to hire in guys that are really high quality people, very intelligent. We do a sales assessment that comes from Objective Management Group. You can get with Ryan Groff. He's a great resource. And so we're testing our people before we ever hire them. We have learned through Breakthrough Academy the importance of being very slow to hire, quick to fire, and really qualifying people before. We would basically hire a sales rep if they would come in, they were decently clean cut, and they would take a job, right? Well, now we supply vehicles, they're on staff, they have benefits, they've got a base salary. It's very expensive to bring them in, gear them up, get them in all the software, all those things. So we're qualifying very heavy on the front side. I would say for every 10 resumes we get, we might interview one. And of every interview, we might hire 1 out of 5. So we're probably going through 50 people to hire one. When we bring them on, we found that it's very front loaded on training, and maybe 40 or 50% make it through our training. Our bottleneck was our sales manager was arrested to constantly train and develop the new guys. And then that took away the focus from the current roster also. So we knew that was a bottleneck. And so we had to look at, we either have to, one, create an online video university that we can give them, it's duplicatable. And so we're not constantly saying the same things over and over, or we have to partner with somebody who has one that we believe in the philosophy. That's where Rodney Webb University came in. And so now what we can do is say they've come in and they've done their initial onboarding, got all their paperwork, they've got used to, they've been walked through. So say we're actually going into the training now. The guys can come in, spend a half hour, give them direction. They can go in and they can spend 2 hours on the university. Our sales manager then is able to focus on other things. After that 2 hours on the university, then they have 2 hours in the classroom reviewing and role playing through all of the things that they just learned in the university. And then they eat lunch. Then in the afternoon, they go into the field with our current roster, and they actually do those same things in the field live. And so now our sales manager is only spending about 2 hours face-to-face with them daily, where before, without the online university and the blended model of sending them out with our current roster, it required our sales manager's time from sunup to sundown. So I think a lot of it is, when you're doing the same thing over and over and over again, it needs to be documented some way, whether you're doing it internally or hiring in an external person to do it for you. But anything you're doing once, twice, 3 times, document it, guys. Your time is precious. And then from there, we're setting up and measuring success. We have the milestones that they're supposed to hit, from closing rate to self-generated leads to average job size. We're tracking that data. We have dashboards. We know what they're pacing to, their own personal goals, as a company, what our goals are. And then we're doing goal setting and reviewing with them. So those are meetings where we're reviewing the KPIs. How did they do? Did they hit it, not hit it? And then developing them so they can hit their own goals. And long-term, they become invested in the company because they're accomplishing what they want to accomplish personally.
It's awesome.
I think one thing too, man, bringing in leads, it's a lot easier to hire people. For us, sure. A couple of years ago, I'm sitting at a desk and basically I'm saying, go knock doors and you could make some money versus, sitting at a desk and being able to really confidently tell them this plan and this roadmap that we have. And we know sort of what's going to come in on the lead side. And it's a lot more appealing to somebody that is getting into sales for the first time or has done sales to know that you don't have to start from scratch. We still make them do some of the other things that we're talking about in terms of networking and knocking the ancillary doors around it. But when you have that marketing that works and you can confidently tell somebody who's interviewing for the job that you're not just going to have to come in here and start from scratch, it's much more appealing. And what we've found, particularly this year, is the talent that's come to us looking for the job has actually been higher because there's more brand recognition. And the first initial conversation that you have, it's not go knock doors and we'll see if you can hack it. It's, hey, here's our process. Here's what we do. We are going to feed you some leads, and it helps. It kind of lends itself to what you're trying to do.
Cool. That's awesome. One thing you guys brought up a lot was bringing in people and then goal setting with them. Here's one tip for everybody. In your interview process, look for what we call attainment. It's the preference to set and hit goals. Look at past times where people had goals in their life and how they performed with them. Did they get excited by goals? Are they motivated? Did they set interim goals along the way? Or are they just people that don't want any goals in their life because they don't want the pressure? That alone, that one little trait can make or break every bit of system you set up around goal setting. You need people that want to set and hit goals with you. It's a small but very effective detail long term. Okay, let's move. So all this is good information. I'm sure all of you have a couple notes. I hope you do. Ultimately, there's a lot of work that these guys have all done over the years to implement all of this effectively. And there's a lot of different things to help you guys, obviously, the implementation. So obviously, Marc and I, have serviced these organizations for a while, and we'll tell you a little bit about how we've helped them, what we do. And then from there, we'll give you some downloads for today so you can take action on some of this stuff. And if you want to set up some time with us, that would be awesome too. So Marc, I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, thanks, Danny. I appreciate that. So as some of you may have heard, in what Josh, Daniel, and Rita shared today, our company exists to help you guys take the pain out of generating leads. So we like to think of it as adding a layer of predictability to your business. So hence the say goodbye to unreliable lead flow. So our business here, we're a small team. We're focused on building out landing pages, creatives, image ads, video ads, that sort of thing. Things that sometimes at a certain level in your business, you don't have the resources for. So we bring a lot of value there. And then, of course, our specialty is running ads on some of the biggest media platforms that are out there: Google, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, that sort of thing. So just a bit about our business real quickly. We've spent over 8 figures on ads. We've been in business for 8 years. So we have been in the trenches. 3 or so years ago, we made the shift to home improvement. We saw a lot of demand. We're seeing a lot of success. And so we trimmed our service offering. Today, it's the only thing that we do. So we're not a jack of all trades marketing company that does everything from branding, lead gen, SEO, content, really focused on leads. We can support with a little bit of branding, but our focus is about helping you scale the business through lead gen. We work with a lot of roofing contractors. And really, we've been getting a lot of credit. I heard my name, Kevin's name, but, the value that we bring our customers is only possible because of the great team that we have. So we're a service organization. And so I love, Josh, I'm going to steal that from you, culture over contracts. That's our belief here too. We're a service company. If we don't take care of our people, if we don't invest in the culture and the people, they're not going to care about our customer. And so that's core to what we believe as well. And it's what's made the growth possible here at Webrunner. If anyone has an interest in ever connecting with us, feel free to reach out. We're partners with some of the biggest and the best in the industry. Breakthrough Academy right here. We've seen a lot of success with anyone who's ever been through Breakthrough Academy because there's a certain level of seriousness and commitment to growth that we've seen. And there's a couple other names that were dropped throughout the presentation, but we try to partner with, the leading tools, coaches, consultants, technologies in the space so that you can do a better job growing your business and just eliminate a lot of the unknowns and the pain. There you have it. So yeah, anyone who's interested in speaking with us, I think Danny, you'll put up a link afterwards. Just, in the chat, I think let us know if you're interested or not. And we can hop on a call and have a free strategy session where we dig a little bit deeper into your number, your goals, your objectives, what that would look like, and whether or not we'd be a good fit.
Cool. I'll just say this for you, Marc. We spent years trying to find a good company that we trust to do lead gen for our BTA clients. And we don't trust a lot of people because a lot of people are full of crap. You're not. And you did exactly what you said you were going to do for our clients, and you have raving reviews from a ton of people that we've sent you, and we will continue to send you lots. And if you guys have felt that in the past where you're like, I really do want some help on this stuff, but I actually is going to do what they say, we spent literally, Simon's full-time job for years was to find vendors that would fit our program, and marketing was the hardest to find until we found you, Marc. So the work has been done. It's Marc and it's Webrunner. So check these guys out. They're awesome.
Thanks.
Okay. You got them in. A little bit about BTA. So we are a bit more of like almost like a management system for your organization. We're almost like a business in a box to insert, right? So everything from how you do your financial management to organizational structure, to recruiting processes, to training program, to your sales program, goal setting and review with your team, we inject it while kind of getting you collaborating with other members. So you're kind of getting almost like a peer review board every 2 weeks you meet with. You're held accountable to your goals as a company. And ultimately, everything we provide has templates and processes already pre-built. So you're kind of working out of a system that's pre-templated. So you have to build anything from scratch. And that is a bit about us. We've got tons of content. We've got a huge LMS system. We've spent millions of dollars creating done-for-you systems and how-to videos. We've got a fairly large team of coaches. I think there's about 8 or 9 of them now on the team. All have very extensive background experience in more the engineering of a business, understand the back end of implementation, and a pretty epic community of over 300 contractors. Everyone shares ideas and collaborates kind of like today. And big philosophy is just we're better together. So we might as well help each other. So Josh, Daniel, Rita, I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but you guys have been a part of us for a while. And any quick thoughts before we get everyone out of here and give them some templates?
Yeah, I think there's more to it than what they can quickly explain. There is, this is going to sound kind of funny, but there's some value in the Dr. Phil aspect as well. So my coach Braden, sometimes, we'll just schedule an hour and I just kind of unload on him and he listens and he gives me good advice and, he challenges me and he gives me things to think about that maybe I haven't, or, I'm so involved in the day-to-day or the same people that there's some objectivity that I might be missing. So there's what they give you in terms of the template, but it's a lot more than that. And it's been super powerful for me and our business.
Awesome.
Yeah, Braden, I'll add to that. Braden's really good at asking hard questions. It's kind of like, oh, yeah, that's tough, but causes you to stop and think. He sees things because he's out of the business that you don't see when you're in the business. And then just the networking with great guys like Josh and Daniel, it's awesome. It's a community. Yeah.
Sweet, guys.
Yeah.
Right.
Guys, as a summary, what I would say is, I went to Purdue for construction and I dropped out because it was not engaging and it wasn't specific to what I was trying to accomplish. What I can tell you is it's a 4-year program. If you want to take it from beginning to end, it's 2 hours every other week. It's basically college for your industry, for your trade. They are teaching you from beginning to end how to operate a business that is a proven successful process that has predictable results. It is 2020, and in 2022, I believe I could retire and my company will operate fully without me, and I'll have well over 6 figures of passive income. I'm not going to do that because that's not my desire today. But 2.5 years ago, I was at my wits' end. I have no hair left. If you all didn't notice, it's this industry, right? Like I got gray in my beard. Well, Breakthrough Academy is bringing sanity because they have proven processes. And I just didn't know what I didn't know, right? Like I was a hustler. I had natural talent, natural skill. We had a lot of really good people in our organization, but we were very reactive versus proactive and having a process that is proven that we could follow. My God, just the MVP file alone, which there's not enough time to talk about, my monthly fee, it's worth just having one MVP file, let alone everything else they provide.
That's good to know, Daniel. I'm going to start charging more now. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, guys, awesome. Thank you. I know we're running tight on time. I'm going to get everyone their templates in a second. So quick thing for everybody. As I'm going through this last piece where I'm getting your templates, I would love to hear from you guys in the chat window. What was your biggest takeaway from today? What was the one thing that you feel you could take action on, that you could do to make a little bit of change in the organization? We spent an hour on this webinar. It's pretty much useless unless something comes out of it that you're going to go do. So what is that one thing that you feel you could take action on? Just feel free to type that in the chat window as we go to the next slide, and we'll read through it as we go. All right. Like we said, we're going to be giving away some templates. So we've got a goal setting dashboard that will actually help you track your business a little bit better, start to see some of the key metrics in the company. Daniel mentioned this MVP file. It's a shortened version of it. It's basically an Excel file that'll help you track a lot of what's going on the marketing side of your company. We've got a lead source ROI tracker. So it'll actually help you see which leads are getting you the best ROI, so your lead to sale ratio. And I thought just to kind of give you a good view of what the types of systems we work on, we've got a 71 point implementation checklist of all the different business processes that could be put in place. So that's free. So what you're going to want to do is there's a little link that just popped up. It says download now. I think my team also put a link in the chat window. Click on that and start to fill out the form, and you can get access to all those resources and totally free, and thumb around in them and start to use them and make them a part of what we just talked about today. On top of that, obviously, Marc and I are here to support you guys. This is partially why we put on the webinar, was to display a little bit of what we're doing. And so if you're interested or just have a little bit more questions about Webrunner and how they can help you in lead gen, Breakthrough Academy and how they can help you in the operational side of your company, we're here for you. So you'll see when you fill out that form, you can at the bottom just say, yes, I would like to learn more about Breakthrough Academy, or yes, I'd like to learn more about Webrunner. Just give us a quick yes or no. Just like we talked about lead gen, we don't want to waste your time or ours. If you're interested, we'll absolutely follow up and have a chat. If you're not, all good, no worries. We'll send you the downloads and away you go. So just let us know if you're curious, and we'd love to chat with you. If you don't see the link for some reason, it's trybta.com/web, and that'll get you into this form. Like I said, from there, you can let us know a little bit about you. We'll send you these downloads. Let us know if you want to chat or not, and we will follow up accordingly. Marc, Rita, Dan, Josh, any final thoughts or comments?
Hey, I typed this in, but I wanted to make sure everybody knew that we're not paid advocates. We're actually paying you guys and just love what you guys do. So just for the record, they're not paying us to do this. We're actually paying them. We just really believe in what they do. They're great people, and their businesses are awesome.
This is big, guys. Rita, Daniel, and Josh are no joke. Like they're pretty good at what they do, right? They're pretty busy people. They've got a pretty large organization behind them, and they've given their time to just literally do this for the sake of helping the industry. So I want to give them a big thank you too, and thank you guys for everything you guys are doing and the example you're setting. And this industry is highly fragmented, and you guys are doing a really good job of not only professionalizing your company, but sharing this with the public, which is huge. And I thank you a lot for what you're doing.
So I would just say, focus on what you do best and build your team of experts. Do it quick. I mean, being 32 years old as a roofing company, and we're just 2 years ago started getting in these systems, the longer you wait, the harder it is. So do it now.
Awesome. Marc, Daniel, any final thoughts?
Yeah, guys, I lived a life that felt insane. I was up at night. I've had panic attacks. Was introduced to fear, and I was never a fearful person. This industry owned my life for a long time. It's still time from my family, from my kids, from my wife. And I've got sanity back. My life is predictable. I can spend time with my family. And this industry is a beautiful industry that will pay me dividends for the rest of my life. Do the hard work now. Partner with the right people. I'm telling you, I've spent 10 years and millions of dollars to find the right people. That's why I take the time out of my day to give this industry these silver bullets to other people who are potentially competitors in my own marketplace, because I'm a lot more concerned about bringing professionalism to the trades and watching people hit their goals. And I would say most people can relate with the life that I lived for so long. And I've got sanity back, and it's truly because of companies like BTA and Webrunner.
Daniel, you're a rock star. Thanks, man. That's huge. Yeah, it's these little things, and I'm sure we all have them in our life, things we don't really talk about publicly, but running a business is kind of insane. It's one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life, and you can't do it alone. You can't do it out with amazing staff, amazing kind of family behind you, vendors, everyone that I look at that supports me. And it's so important, guys, too, like, don't just go find someone that's promising big things. Go find someone that you resonate with, that like matches your core values, that you feel aligned with, and that will go to battle for you as you're going through those highs and lows. Because that's just the reality of running business. It's not going to be easy, but you need good people around you. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot harder. You guys did a lot. Thanks, guys. There's a lot that came out of there. So I'm sure everyone got something. We saw a whole bunch just come through on your guys' biggest takeaways. Thanks, everyone, for taking part in this. We will close out the webinar. We'll send out the recording. If you want to pass it to a friend or anyone you know in the industry, absolutely do so. And we're happy to be of service. Thanks for listening, guys.